You better get those feet tapping, fingers snapping, all hands clapping. Buckle up, gobble some popcorn. It's the Mickle Pod and Pickle with Mickle. And here we go. All right, here we go. Mickle Pod Pickle with Mickle, a feel-good, free-for-all Friday, a football Friday. I'm here with my buddy Lorin. We're going to break down some football, really whatever the hell we feel like talking about today on a Friday because we're feeling good, free-for-all. I mean, shit, Lorin, we were up at 5:30 this morning playing some pickleball for crying out loud, so I appreciate you staying with me here today, and we're gonna have a nice time. How you doing? You feeling good after that pickle session?
Oh yeah. For the record, so what time do you get up to get there by 5:30? Because I literally get up at like 5:18.
Yeah, I probably got up at like quarter till 5. Just enough time to feed the dog, fill up the water bottle, get in the car, jam over.
Yeah, it's always funny. I'm late to everything. It seems like. Yeah, I'm always the last one there. I'm running without shoes on, whatever else. And then my excuse was always, well, I'm 45 minutes away, so that's why I'm late. But now I literally can walk across the street to the
Yeah, you're right there.
park.
And it's not too far from me. Not too far from me either. And what's great is you drive right past Arizona Athletic Grounds as you get out to Frontier Park where we can play for free. And they're doing some great things at Arizona Athletic Grounds. I guess we'll talk a little pickleball right now. And that's a great place to play. But Frontier Park, lots of courts, great place to play. We have a lot of fun out there. I mean, we play at center court too. You remember there. And the Pro Picklers, they're down in Virginia Beach. But you want to talk some pickleball? We can. Let's get into some football, right? I mean, it's a football Friday. I got my shirt on, burgundy and gold, till I'm dead and cold. That's right, baby, because the Washington Redskins football Commanders are coming out here to the desert. Now, we both live out here, and I don't know if you're a true, do you part the Red Sea? Are you a big Cardinal backer? Is that a good game for us to start with? We got to talk about it because my Commanders are coming, baby.
Well, here's the thing about the Cardinals too, which I think is always fascinating to me. So I am not a Cardinals fan. I admire them from a distance, but what's funny is because I'm a University of Arizona fan, this is going to be kind of funny. I can't really cheer for the Cardinals because the problem is that like 90% of Cardinals fans are also, what do you think, ASU fans?
ASU.
I just can't. So I just have a hard time with that.
Well, how about them Cats?
We're going to get boat. I'm actually going to the game tomorrow up in Utah.
Okay.
And we're going to get boat race. So that I think the spread's like 12. So I think I put like a couple $100 down on this getting.
Well, let's go right there. We can come back to the Cardinals because I agree with you. I've lived out here for a long time. And I've always been a Redskins fan, and I will still say Redskins. And I had season tickets to the Cardinals when I first moved out here so I could see the Redskins. And I will allow my children to be Cardinals fans because they were born here. They've seen the ebb and flow of the Cardinals. But it's not always often we can talk about the Desert Cats down there in Tucson having some pretty good football, but we have been able to the past couple of years. Now, they got a good squad, 12 points. That seems like a lot, though Cam Rising is good for, well, a bunch on his own. But come on, break it down. You got a chance up there with that quarterback, the wide receiver. You got to stop Rising. That's the key, right?
So before we talk about so real quick though about the Cardinals, let me tell you a real quick story though, and it's actually pickleball related. So
okay,
a couple of years ago, over at that Tempe market, have you ever played the Tempe courts over by the Cardinals practice facility?
Their old facility?
No, their new one. It's here in Tempe. So there's like, I don't know, 6 pickleball courts that are right next to it. Public.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. So a buddy of mine, he comes in from Denver all the time, and we'll pop over there and play because I won't tell you exactly why, but let's just say it's not far from ASU, and so he likes to go play there.
Depending on what time of year.
Yeah, 2 years ago I'm there, and I'm under the weather too, so I'm just like there. I come just to kind of be that buddy. He's playing, I'm just kind of hanging out, and I notice out of the corner of my eye, Larry Fitzgerald rolls in because he plays down there quite a bit.
Okay.
And I'm kind of looking, I'm like, oh, I'm 6'5", so I'm not small. No. This dude's like got dwarfed. And so I'm just sitting there and watching, and he walks over to me and he goes, hey, get your paddle. We're playing one-on-one.
Nice.
So, yeah. So I'm sick as a dog getting my butt kicked by Larry Fitzgerald playing one-on-one.
That was about 2 years ago or so?
Yeah, a couple years ago. So he works me over one-on-one. He's like, "Hey, grab a friend." I'm like, "Great, I'll grab a friend." Then I grabbed my buddy, and then we actually whooped him. And then he's like, "All right, I'm gonna get me a friend." I'm like, "Yeah, go get yourself a friend, Larry.
Yeah,
Let's make it more even."
let's do it.
So, it's absolutely amazing though seeing these guys. Like he's a professional, obviously a former professional athlete at wide receiver who looks
Right.
like an absolute linebacker and can move though like a wide receiver. So going. I know we're bouncing around, but from
No.
a pickleball standpoint, it's phenomenal to see these guys at that athletic ability though be able to play and transfer into pickleball and how much they absolutely love it. It's great.
Well, how much they love it for sure, because Fitz absolutely loves it. I mean, the guy has pickle fever. He's pickling all the time. So if you just caught him about 2 or 3 years ago, if you caught him today, whew, different story, right? I mean, the guy is like really good now. And we're seeing a lot of these athletes not only just like buying into some of the pro clubs or anything like that, but you're seeing them play pickleball in the off time. And just like you said, they're picking it up quick. They like the game because it's fun, right? I mean, you get out there and it's fun to play. You work Larry over a little bit. He's like, hang on, I'm gonna go get a friend. I'll be right back. And so, I mean, just like we are out on the court, switching around, you get that new person. It's like, let's go. I played horrible last time. Pick me up. We got to get this one. And so it's great fun, man. But that's a great story. I saw Larry out in, I think it was Mesa at the PPA tournament earlier this year at Arizona Athletic Grounds. Of course, he's mobbed by reporters just doing his thing. But to your point, when he stands up, you just kind of go, oh, yeah, that's Larry Fitzgerald. That's a former NFL player. And then also when you stand up next to some of these pro pickleballers, which I don't know if you've gotten a chance to, but some of them are tall like you. And I mean, these guys are brick shithouses, man. A guy like Dekel Barr, a guy like Andre Diescu, these are big. Jay DeVillers is just a big guy. I mean, like a wide guy. And you sit up there, you think about trying to pass them at the kitchen, for crying out loud. I mean, the Cardinals could probably use him at linebacker.
No, I think it's phenomenal just from a social experiment standpoint, as far as just the dynamic of pickleball in general. I mean, we've been in athletics our whole life, right? So I played college baseball and I'm coaching high school right now. So I'm in athletics all my life. I don't think there's anything ever been like it. I don't think there's ever going to be anything like it in the future. So like I was down in Brazil in July with a friend.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, I think I'll just see what we have for pickleball around here. And sure enough, there's a freaking indoor facility there for pickleball.
8 courts, 12 courts.
Yeah. And they jump in there and all of a sudden they're like, hey, oh, you're American. Oh, okay. You guys are probably 5.0. I was like, no, we're not, but that's the way we can pretend. But yeah. And all of a sudden we got people standing around watching us play and wanting to jump in there. And it's just, it's phenomenal. I think just from a social standpoint, especially coming out of COVID when there was so much stuff that came out that wasn't good. I think one of the biggest things that came out of that was good is the evolution of pickleball and kind of where we're at right now. And I don't know if we talked about like the easy thing about how to play that game too is like, as opposed to tennis where you got to actually learn how to serve, right? To be able to engage.
Talk about it, because I mean, part of what you do, you mentioned, hey, high school or college athlete, played baseball. You do a lot coaching locally, and we can certainly hit on that because as I look at pickleball, just like you mentioned, if anything came out of COVID that was good, it got us out, it got us talking to each other again in person. Now we're playing this fun game. And just like you mentioned, I don't have to learn a nuanced serve where I'm throwing it up, timing it down. I can bounce it. I can underhand it. Now, I still hit plenty into the freaking net, but it's adaptable. And you don't have to play singles. If you really want to get your game humming, you're feeling pretty competitive, get a buddy, go play some singles. I know a few girls run you around singles on the court and you'll be done. But playing doubles, playing you and me, playing with your significant other or spouse or even your children, you can do it. And it's a lot of fun. And I think back to, you mentioned you coach softball, right? Is it baseball or softball that you're coaching?
High school baseball.
Yeah. High school baseball. And so now we're starting to see which high school?
Gilbert Classical.
Okay. Do any rumblings of pickleball coming into high school yet?
Yeah, I think, actually I was talking to somebody yesterday who's an athletic director, and she was telling me that as part of their PE program now, it's going to be pickleball.
Yeah, right? Bringing it into the PE program. I think we'll start to see it more as a high school sport too, because we'll see kids who are now, they're going to play some baseball. Maybe they play some pickleball on the weekends. And if there's a pickleball team, maybe I'm pretty good at baseball, but I'm really good at pickleball too. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go for varsity pickle this time around. You never know, because we're continuing to see the sport evolve. And you mentioned that point earlier. And so I think the youth of America, the youth of the world, this pickleball is a great another outlet for them from an athletic, social standpoint, make some friends, team concept, a lot of fun too.
I think where you're going to really see it too, I think is in this next Olympic cycle. I would think that pickleball will be approved by then. Crap. I mean, if we're doing breakdancing, let's get that freaking out of there.
I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that. And I had an opportunity to talk with the CEO of USA Pickleball not too long ago, Mike Neely. And we talk a little bit about that. And everyone talks about we got to get Olympics into the pickleball or pickleball into the Olympics. And there's a lot more to it than that. We just want to have the sport, and we got breakdancing. And, the way Mike broke it down in forming the right coalition, what federation is going to represent pickleball to the IOC and get this thing approved for play, because that's what's going to kind of dictate how pickleball is played. Now, one thing I'll talk to you about, one thing I wouldn't put Mike on the spot about because I don't think it would have been appropriate is, hey, we talk about all the money in pickleball. And now some of these federations, USA Pickleball, UPA, GWF, whoever, and you've watched sports for a long time, Lorin, just like me. When it comes to international competition, we can talk about the powers that be. And for reference, the International Olympic Committee, FIFA, sometimes not the most, let's say, above board dealings. So what's to say a federation tries not to scratch a check and become the recognized federation by the IOC, and now they're moving this thing into the Olympics? I don't think we'll get it by LA unless maybe, money talks. But I think the next cycle after that, for sure, we should see pickleball in the Olympics.
I think they'll have a mutiny on their hands. They don't have it by next one. So
yeah, well, if the people who are at those powers that be could agree that everybody wants it in the Olympics and then just figure out how to shepherd that together, we could get it done. But there's just a lot of ego and a lot of that happens when you've got something that's happening so fast like pickleball.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we can talk about that for so U of A, my favorite subject.
Yeah, let's hit football.
It. Well, here's the thing though. So I mean, everybody, we were kind of all up in an uproar when old Fish bounced on us last year and went to Washington. Which, by the way, I hope he loses every game and gets fired eventually. Just for the
that's not a U of A fan at all, folks.
No, I hope he loses every freaking game. Yeah, and I hope he does get bounced within reason. But at the same time, I will say that we're missing something this year that clown definitely brought to the table. There's just a different vibe, and I think just a different level of energy that we're just missing. That's this team. I don't know. They feel soft. So yeah, we've got the quarterback. I think we got a wide receiver who's the best wide receiver in the country. And that McMillan he's just special.
He's really good.
But when you got a defense that cannot stop, and literally, I think I could run for 150 yards on that team. I think they're going to get steamrolled up in Utah tomorrow. But I'm going to go watch it firsthand and enjoy myself with the Utah faithful, because we'll at least have in common that we all hate BYU football. So I think we'll probably bond over that. And
once you can have, as long as you have that common ground, there you go. But hey, it's always nice to travel up there. Weather's going to be great. Taking a football game on a Saturday, and maybe the Cats can do it.
I like how you think. I don't know.
100% positivity provider, just like when I'm on the pickleball court.
Well, I guess if you're a Washington fan, you got to be eternally optimistic too. Because although I will say, after your game this week, I don't know. I'm not sure who's going to be more. I don't know if that's a Washington just excited or if that's a Cincinnati like, oh crap, we're in trouble.
Well, Bengals. Both. Yeah, I think the Bengals are in a little bit of trouble, even though they like to say we start slow all the time. We were 0-3 this time last year, and we turned it back around. It doesn't look like they can. Now, for the Commanders, probably, buying a ticket to New Orleans was premature. Did it anyway. It's a great city. The Super Bowl is going to be down there. But when you got Jaden Daniels, who's probably going to now be Offensive Rookie of the Year in the NFL, since future Hall of Famer Caleb Williams is really showing you what he can do there in Chicago, I think if they come out here and do what they did before, Eckler's going to be out, got to run the football. It's simple formula that we don't see week in, week out anymore is running the damn football. Teams that are winning rush for over 100 yards. I don't care if you need 10 carries, if I need 10 carries, let's run the football so then we can sling it a little bit. And
hey, can I just make fun of Jaden McDaniels real quick though?
Yeah.
Since he did went to ASU, it's kind of fair game, right?
He did.
Can we get him a helmet that actually fits?
No,
Like that thing looks like it's like 10 times too big. I feel like I'm looking at like the
it's like
Jack in the Box.
he's got the practice shell under the real helmet, right? I mean, it's like
Right, right.
double protected. And there's another thing. Let's go back to those ASU days. I think
Almost
that they
unfair though, dude. It's almost unfair to have a helmet that big though. I mean, it's not fair because how are you going to tackle a guy when you got to reach around like a ball that big? Like remember those Jack in the Box commercials where they show like the little Jack in the Box kid with that big old thing on there? He's running down the
Jaden
field.
in the
That's what it
box.
looks like.
You might have hit on something for the folks in DC, right? They should start to market that Jaden in the box. I like it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Mars
but
attacks.
I love it. I think they sealed any of the tape from him when he was out here at ASU, and any pro scout could only watch LSU film because you'd be like, hang on, how did this guy turn into this when I could see that? And that's what I used to say is, look, I've seen the tape. I remember what was out here in the desert, and I know you get a lot better players around you. Let's say maybe at an LSU, it could be easier to shine. But I think he's acquitting himself okay 3 weeks in the NFL. They got to keep him upright because if he gets hit, he's going to get broke.
Well, and here's the thing too. I will give him this though, even as an ASU, not an ASU fan, but actually he performed really well out here. I think when not having as much talent around him, and so I think there's something to be said though to go even going from an ASU program, which has predominantly been a very strong football program, a lot of pressure, right? To go to LSU where the pressure is just second to none, and then to walk in there and
perform
win that job and perform and to win a Heisman Trophy. That's why I think when they took him, I thought that was really a really good move. I'm not real sure about the kid from Carolina, that Drake
May
that went to. Yeah, I'm not real sure about him. I think Caleb Williams will probably be fine eventually. I thought he would be a little bit better out of the gate than he has been so far this year. But and then even, but we're bouncing around a little bit too. Like these Alabama kids, though. See, that's part of like I look at like a Jaden Daniels where he actually did bounce around a little bit. He's actually faced some adversity and actually has gone through a couple different programs. He's not just a quarterback from the system, and we're kind of seeing that now with Alabama. Like there's enough now there with that Mac Jones, and now with
where is Mac Jones?
Where is he? And where's the kid that now that they just got benched from Charlotte, right, for Carolina?
Oh, Bryce Young.
He was terrible.
Bryce Young. Terrible. I mean, I was never sold on him.
No, if Darnold's coming in there and he's throwing 3 touchdown passes and throwing for 400 yards, what does that tell you?
Now you got Sammy Darnold, right, making a believer out of everybody. Maybe you should see ghosts because then you can come back and just start slinging it to Justin Jefferson. Hey, we can bounce around like we are. We're dinking in the kitchen, having a hands battle. The Vikings. I mean, who do they play this weekend? I'm not even sure. The Packers. So let's hit on that one real quick. Will the Packers let Jordan Love play?
Yeah, they will. So this is something I was thinking about earlier today too, is that, I think in the NFL, it's been interesting to watch too, that because, historically from a coaching standpoint, you always have the coaching turnover, right? Mm-hmm. I was kind of laughing because I'd done a podcast several years ago with a friend of mine who was doing something similar. Our whole thing was we were making fun of NFL coaches who honestly didn't even know what team they were on. Like you could roll them out on the sidelines, and sometimes you could literally turn them around, face them their direction, they would just sit there and clap.
Yeah,
because that was kind of the NFL is we're going to hire retreads or guys that really whatever. But the big thing now at the NFL is to go after these coordinators, right? These young guys, right, and then throw them into head coaching positions, but still having them as coordinators. I think that's why we're seeing a lot of the parity, or even a lot of the teams that maybe don't have as much talent, per se, compete. Like to your point, like the guy from the Packers is a young guy. He's an offensive coordinator for the most part.
Yeah, LaFleur. Or no, that's Bears.
Yeah, LaFleur.
Or is it LaFleur?
Even the Cardinals guy, right? I mean, those kids play hard.
Gannon.
There's not much talent on that team, right?
Right.
But they're taking chances on these young guys that come in and they're innovative and how they're scheming against these other teams. And that's really what the NFL kind of needed, I think, based off of otherwise just rolling out the old retreads everywhere they went.
Right. It's always been a copycat league. And now those retreads are the next new thing, right? Who's going to be that next Sean McVay? Gone are the Belichick disciples, the Andy Reid disciple. What happened to Eric B? The next biggest thing was supposed to be, he's been there on the Chiefs. He's been doing this. He's an X's and O's genius. Is he on the sidelines in UCLA right now? He was supposed to come in and take us to the promised land. And you didn't hear a lot about that kind of soft exit he made out of the NFL. But to your point, like Kingsbury out here in Arizona, now he's on the sideline in Washington. And, next best thing, quarterback whisperer. So we'll see it. And I believe, to your point, that's leading to that parity. because it's become kind of a horizontal league. Can we throw the ball down the field? Kingsbury, for crying out loud, Screensbury. Give me something down the field. I don't need an average pass of 5 yards. But hey, I digress. We'll see. They're going to come in here, whatever the spread is. Commanders are going to beat the Cardinals, folks. I'm just going to tell you that one right now.
It's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a very competitive game. On the flip side, though, on the flip side too, I see this in college more than the pros, is that you do have these guys that are predominantly coordinators that then get moved into head coaching positions
from college.
In college, I think even within the college ranks, I'll give you a couple examples.
Sure.
That they're good as coordinators, but then you move them into that head coaching position, and they don't quite have enough to really drive as that CEO, true head coach. And I got to give you a couple Sarkisian. I think this is an interesting year for him. Like, he is that guy who's an incredible coordinator. Can he take that next leap and take a team to the promised land and get over the hump as a head coach?
Let's park it right there, because that's a great call, right? You saw Sark with the glory days of SC. You saw him go up to UW. Now, he went through some personal demons. It's been very well documented, his own personal demons, and it's great. It's great to see redemption stories. Now you're at Texas. You're a head coach again. You've been around football a long time. The folks in Texas are like, this is every year, this is their year. But more than not, right? Is Texas still number 1 or 2? And how does he handle the Ewers Manning deal? Because you already put the kid in. And so I'll ask you, can you pull him out if Ewers is back healthy? Because they've got a big run coming up. Texas does.
I think you have to. I'm a big believer. You can't just pull the kid out and then not put him back in if it's injury related. And yours is going to be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft next year anyway. So
my point.
And I think it's a tribute to Manning and how he's been raised. Now he's been brought up, especially in today's day and age where these kids are like instant gratification. If I'm not the best player on the team, I get every opportunity despite no matter what, I'm going to go pout. I mean, I think he's a typical Manning, right? That's why everybody for the most part, people are Manning fans because they do the things right. Peyton was that way, his brother, so on and so forth. So I think the kid, if it's any other kid, I think it probably is a big problem. I think with it being Manning that's there, I think he'll take it in stride and be professional about it, knowing that he's still got next year to look forward to. I think he'll be fine. But to answer your question, I don't think you do. I think it'll be interesting though with Sarkisian though. I think he does get over the hump. I think that the thing for him that was so good was to go to Alabama and then really see firsthand. Okay, this is how you truly run.
Sit with Nick, right?
That's right. Which was fantastic for him. I think that was.
Who else?
Because you go,
I know you have some other coaches you wanted to name, but in that same vein, I think his time at Bama helped Lane Kiffin.
100%, great example. And I think he does have the ability to take that next step too. Like if he moves into, it won't be at Ole Miss, but if he actually then pops into another job that is that top, that upper echelon team, I think he takes them to the top. I think he's got that in him as well. I agree.
Yeah, no, great call out. And we'll see how Texas does this year. I mean, back to Ewers Manning. I said it on my show. It's a good thing it's, Arch Manning, because he's going to just be like, shucks, Quinn will come back and take us where we need to go. Because he's going to go pro and he's going to get plenty of playing time. And I like how you said it too. Let's just say the kid's last name wasn't Manning, all-star, 5-star freshman guy, right? Came in, did pretty good. He's going to be on the side and go, come on, coach, it's my time now, right? Quinn can portal out or maybe he can sit down. But no, I mean, Ewers should be a top 5. Was his shoulder that got strained? It wasn't separated or anything. He could play. He could play in their next big game, which is going to come up in, I think, 2 weeks.
Well, here's the thing too, though. See, the Mannings, they get it as far as they look at things from the long term, right? You look at some of these college kids. We talked about why they're flaming out after a year or two is because a lot of cases they're going in there and they're being thrown to the wolves and just very unprepared, right?
Not ready.
They're not ready. And you get it why, just from a social economic standpoint. I get the whole idea why they need to get up there and get going. They've got a lot of pressures on them, right? Financially and whatever. But at the same time, the Mannings don't have to deal with that. So I think they're able to look at things like, hey, this is what's going to get our kid not just to the NFL, but be prepared to be in the NFL and be prepared to be that number 1 pick, which he will be when he comes out.
Yep.
To be able to lead a team from day one and be able to handle it, right?
Right.
Versus a lot of these kids. Like Darnold's a great example. That kid was good in college. I mean, that kid had all the things looking at him. And then for him to flame out just means that he was not in a good situation and he probably wasn't quite ready for there. But it doesn't surprise me, to be honest with you, that he came in here and did really well.
He stuck around, right? Stuck around, kept getting his shot. And now he's found a good good spot in Minnesota. Good coach, right? Good foundation around there. Good organization. Typically, Minnesota, pretty well run organization through the years. And let's see what he can do because, yeah, back at SC, the kid was good. And I think you see, of course, with the NFL, when some of these quarterbacks or whatever players and they get there, there is that pressure. The team has drafted you up top. There's a lot of money up front now. We got to put you in there where I'd rather say, you know what? I'm going to sit you. So that way, when you come out, it's that much better versus like the kid from Carolina shattered. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know if an NFL team will pick him up. He could probably play in Canada or something like that. But it's you see that all the time. And it's easy for us to talk about. We're not living it. But there's also parallels. If you're like top dog at your company or something, and here comes a young buck, and next thing you know, you're kind of down here. And that's why I love sports, because we can draw some of those parallels in our own lives and put them out there. Let's get back into some of these college games. The big one. We talked about a little bit Alabama, Georgia, 2-3 or something here. Let's see if I can get it up on the screen. Go ahead, though.
I got about 10 minutes.
All right.
10 minutes here. I think so. I'm a big fan of the new Alabama coach. I think that's the one job I would never want to walk into myself. And so the fact that the guy just took it head on, and if you look kind of his story as far as how he evolved and got into that Washington job, pretty phenomenal to see how that guy is just everywhere he's gone, he is legit won. So it's just a matter of time.
Caleb DeBoer.
Yeah. I think he's legit. I think he's for real. I think this is not his year probably to beat Georgia. I think Georgia takes them out. I don't think anybody touches them until they get to a Texas-Georgia type of final situation, I think, at the end of the year. Those two teams, to me, are head and shoulders above everybody else.
Georgia, Texas?
Georgia, Texas.
Yeah. Round me out your top 5 college teams. We got Georgia, Texas up top. Who's the next 3?
Oh, Alabama's definitely going to be in there. Who is in the top 5 right now?
It's a good question.
Going back to our original conversation, you brought up Penn State when we were talking earlier today. See, that's another one. I don't know that Franklin gets them over the hump, right?
He hasn't yet.
He hasn't yet. So
Penn State's number 9. Penn State's 9, playing 19 Illinois, Big Ten showdown. They're both undefeated. It's in Happy Valley. I think the Nittany Lions win that. Georgia's 2-4, so Texas is number 1. Who the heck is number 3? Ohio State.
Who?
Ohio State.
He's another one, though. Can he get them over the hump? He hasn't done it yet.
Hasn't done it. He's got to hope he beats Michigan, or he's out.
I think he will beat Michigan because I'm not sold on the new Michigan coach either, though. I think he's also kind of fits into that really good coordinator. But
big leap to run that program. Because and when you got to come after a guy, and I think Caleb DeBoer, back to your point, and we are jumping around, which is great. When you're the guy after the guy, it's tough. Sometimes you'd rather be the guy after the guy who was after the guy. But I think DeBoer down there at Bama is handling it pretty good. Of course, he has a squad. We'll see how he recruits, and it continues to go. But for the Michigan coordinator to jump in, they wanted him. He's going to do okay. It's a tough spot because you have to continue to do okay. As long as he beats Ohio State, well, that carries a lot of weight. All right, let's hop over and let's try to identify before I let you get out of here. Let's rip through some NFL games. Well, first of all, talk to me about your fantasy team. How you doing so far?
So far, good. So there's one league I'm in that I've been in for 20 years. You're going to love this.
Same here.
It's touchdown only. So think about
that
for a minute.
That's how you get points.
Touchdown only. Kickers kick a field goal, you get 3 points. Quarterback throws a touchdown, you get 4 points.
That's it.
There's no yards.
No yards.
No. It's you throw a touchdown, 4 points. Score a touchdown, you get 6 points. And then it's whatever field goals you make, though you get those points too. So there are games where you watch these games from a fan standpoint. You got your guy that's running all the way down the field, gets down to the 1, and he comes out. You're like, whoa! And they send in the other guy. He punches in. You're like, son of a what? So it's a phenomenal league. I've been in it with one of my best friends for years, and it is the funniest thing to watch that because we'll watch games and there's like this past week we were down by 5 points. And what was the late game? Who was it again?
Was that the Chiefs? Or no? What was the final game? Chiefs Falcons? No, that was 2 weeks ago. Was it the Carolina? No, I can't remember.
We had a running back that ran in a touchdown with like less than.
Yeah, it was Chiefs Falcons. Chiefs Falcons was the late one.
What was the one before that? Who was the
Niners? Rams might have been.
No, Cincinnati and your guys.
Well, that was us. Oh, Bills, Jags.
No. It was Cincinnati Commanders because we had Zach Moss from
Oh,
Cincinnati. He ran in that touchdown at the very end of the game, and we won the game. We won our matchup that week.
nice.
18-17 was
Yeah,
the
I was
final
about to say
score.
your games are like a MLP pickleball game, right? Like 25-23 or 25-18 when it in my league, so we've been in ours like 20 years or so too, but it's just a straight PPR, so you can still get, 150 to 138 or something. All right, we hit on the Cardinals, Commanders, Cowboys, Giants played last night. Who's your NFL team?
So here's another one too: the Cowboys, and that's a perfect example. They got a retread in there. They're never going to get over the hump.
No,
You got two people over there that are never going to get over the hump. One's McCarthy, and another one's Dak Prescott. He just
right.
doesn't have it. He doesn't have that it factor. Just
No,
doesn't
keep
have
going.
it. He's
Yeah.
a great,
They just
great
paid him for
player.
crying out loud. Two-pick
I
Dak
don't
gets 60
understand
mil.
it. Yeah,
How about the
he's gonna
Saints?
He's going to win a first round game every year, and that's
Maybe.
it.
They brought Zeke back.
Yeah.
What do you think of the Saints this year?
I'm kind of it's actually been interesting because I never really thought that Dennis, what's his last name? Was that
Derek Carr?
coach?
The coach. Okay.
Yeah, he's never been good consistently anywhere he's gone. So I actually been surprised that they got out of the gate so fast.
And they got the Falcons.
In Atlanta's one of those teams that they do kind of have all the parts there.
All of the parts.
All the parts there. I mean, they got enough talent there. I think defensively they play pretty hard too. Is that who they're playing? Is it so? It's Saints.
Falcons in Atlanta. Right now, you got Atlanta given 2.5 points. I don't like that. That's like the home 3 minus a half. I think the Saints go in there and get it done, unless the Falcons can do what I need them to do. Lots of points from Bijan Robinson. That's my guy. Come on, Atlanta.
Actually, I'm not sold on Cousins. Cousins is another one. I think he's just good enough to get you beat.
How cool is it that Captain Kirk is the one that set the bar for these quarterbacks? Remember him holding out over and over and over again in Washington, and then he went and got the guaranteed money in Minnesota. I think people forget that. It was Captain Kirk. All the quarterbacks should hail Captain Kirk. Speaking of his old team, Vikings, Packers, who you got?
Vikings. I think they're real.
I
love their coach.
I do too. Coach. And I think you're right. I think the Packers are going to start Love this weekend. It's a huge game, divisional game, the rivalry to it. I mean, personally, I hope it works out okay. I'd hate to see him go down again coming back in this game because I think the kid's got a bright future. That Love
Where's
kid.
That game at again?
It's in Green Bay. It's at Lambeau.
That's a toss-up.
It's Green Bay's getting the home 3. That's it. Let's see. And
Darnold's nicked up. Darnold's nicked up a little bit too. So you know what? Actually, I probably changed my mind on that. I probably would take Packers on that.
And take Packers.
3-point spread.
Fair enough. Let's grab a good one here. I gotta find a good one. Chiefs, Chargers. Ooh, Bills, Ravens. Which one do you like better?
Bills. Ravens are a mess. Look at their defense.
The Ravens are gas. I said that at the beginning of the year. I said they're not going to do that great. Speaking of getting over the hump, I think this is the year Josh Allen gets the Bills over the hump and at least gets through to that championship game. Can they push through to the Super Bowl? We'll find out. If they don't, I think we could see things. I think we could see the house get turned over in Buffalo.
Possibly. I thought they'd come out of the gate struggling this year just because of what you just said. But you know what? Again, that shows that McDermott really does know what he's doing and that Josh Allen has really matured. So I think that team's going to be right there. And I agree with you. I'm now starting to think that this is the year they get past the Chiefs. So
the two receivers they have left after Diggs, Khalil and Coleman. Watch out, man. The special Ks, they can do it. Ooh, the night game. Okay.
It's the tight end, though. It's Kincaid, actually, that is the reason why I think that kid's good.
He is. How about Seahawks, Lions? Lions, my Super Bowl pick. It's in Detroit.
I'm always cheering for the Lions just because I remember when they used to have paper bags on their faces, right? And then I'm a fan of Jared Goff. I love seeing guys that get traded away because they don't think they're good enough and then to come back and just stick a foot up people's rear end. So, yeah, I'm always – and that coach, again, that's a coach who he is.
Superfly Dan.
He's moved from that coordinator position. And he's learned how to be a head coach. So
when you think about Detroit and where they've been, like you said, bags over the face like they used to do in New Orleans. But with Detroit, it was just like every year the fans just show up, right? Sometimes no holes. They just plain bag. But the organization, I think, has always been pretty solid. You've always seen – I loved Wayne Fontes back in the day. But Super Dan Campbell I like. So, yeah, I cheer for Detroit too. Man, it's been a lot of fun. I know I said I'd only keep you here for a little bit. Lorin, my buddy – joining me on the show. Feel good, free for all Friday. Broke down some pickleball, broke down some college football, a little fantasy in there, some NFL talk. It's been a great time. Speaking of some pickleball, do you have a favorite pickleball player?
McGuffin.
Nice. Tyson Terry McGuffin. Very cool. Do you follow MLP at all? Do you have a team?
No, not really. Not at the where I say I'd have an actual loyal following when I'm watching them all the time. I'll pop them on YouTube every now and then, but no, not yet.
Fair enough. Fair enough. How's the squad doing? How's your team doing? The team you coach? How we doing?
We're good. So this is the first year I'm the head coach, so we're still getting to know each other a little bit. I assistant coached there a couple of years ago, and so it's a charter school. So these kids are all like 4.2, 4.3s. They're all depressed if they're not killing it with A pluses in their AP courses, which I'm just like, hey,
just a different world, right? That's a different mindset.
Yeah. I went to high school just so I could go to lunch, pretty much. So, but they're fun because they like to understand all the details of why we do stuff. So cool. I love it. It's a good group. And we're just just finished our summer workouts. Now we're moving into fall.
Awesome. Very cool. Well, hey, I appreciate you making some time for me on the show. You're welcome back anytime. We'll rip it up. We'll see how we do this weekend. It's a football Friday, football coming. Lorin, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon.
You too, my friend.
You know it.
You know what? That's a great way to get the weekend going. Go on and get to it. Stay safe out there. Stay hydrated. I'll see all y'all next time.